Hey, you clicked on my video. Appreciate it. Now be sure to like the video and subscribe to the page. Long enough to cover the subject and short enough to keep it interesting. Welcome to Outta My League. I'm Nick Diaz. It's tidbitting season. Y'all never heard of tidbitting season? Little by little, we get tidbit after tidbit of information on what's going on in football camp. A practice footage here, an interview clip there, a report over here. Little by little, we will figure out the puzzle that is fall camp, tidbit by tidbit. And we got some today. Now, what I have been saying for the past month about Jayden Daniels is that he's not an accurate passer, never has been, and it's really hard to become an accurate passer at this stage in your career. Oh, and they said back in spring that the coaches are changing Jayden Daniels' footwork. Well, Mike Denbrock, LSU's offensive coordinator, was asked about today during the media press conference after practice, how is the footwork going in changing Jayden Daniels' accuracy?
Well, I don't think it's finished yet. You know what I mean? It says, the old saying is it takes, 10,000 reps to master a skill. We've been dinking with his footwork a little bit here through the spring and then through fall camp in the summer. I doubt if he's probably got 10,000 reps at it yet. So, it's an ongoing process. I think what we're trying to garner from getting his lower body right is really the consistency necessary to throw the ball and a little bit more accurately.
It's an ongoing process. 3 weeks until Florida State, and the new footwork is still a work in progress? Okay. I gave an evaluation of Jayden Daniels' inaccuracy. I'm unqualified and not an expert, but I gave an evaluation. Take it or leave it. His inaccuracy is just all over the place, okay? I don't think you really need to be some kind of guru at quarterback to figure that out when you watch him. But he seems to mostly have a problem with the nose of the football facing down and low and hitting guys low most of the time. And I saw several clips today of practice, in the media viewing of practice. One of them was courtesy of Michael Cobble of WBRZ, where Jayden Daniels threw a 5-yard route in the middle of the field to Malik Neighbors, and it went straight to his toes. Malik Neighbors had to bend over and pick it up. 5 yards down the field. Went straight to his toes. And this is an offensive team portion of practice with no defense. That's the same crap he did at Arizona State the past 3 years, and it's the same stuff he's doing now. Y'all, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, I don't know what else to tell you. But I will tell you that just like last week, the order of the drills in practice with the quarterbacks were number 1, Nussmeier, number 2, Jayden Daniels, number 3, Miles Brennan, and number 4, Walker Howard. Same as it was last week, as it was today in practice 5. The offensive team portion of drills with no defense, all 3, Nussmeier, Jayden Daniels, and Miles Brennan, got some reps at first team, but the majority of those first team reps were Jayden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier, splitting most of the first team reps. Now, this was just during the viewing portion of practice. We don't know what happened afterwards, but it's been this way for 5 days now. Also, 24/7 Sports' Matthew Bruni, who covers LSU, he was out there and he wrote a report saying that one of the drills that the quarterbacks were doing, they were kind of rolling out to their left, throwing against their body, and throwing it to the sideline, that Nussmeier clearly, in his opinion, looked like the best quarterback in that one individual drill. Now, this was just his opinion on one drill during the quarterback's practice. However, Mike Denbrock was asked about QBs in the past that he's worked with in his system and how that is going forward.
Yeah, I think, number one, we want someone who can run the system of offense that we're putting in. And it's an adjustable system. So that doesn't mean, hey, well, I remember where Coach came from, so that must mean this guy's got a leg up. It doesn't mean that. What it means more is what's in place for our offensive unit with the skill players that we have and who we have offensively playing to the strengths of that unit.
So don't just look for the past QBs to say, well, this is what he did in the past, and that's what's going to determine who wins the quarterback battle this time. Don't just look at Malik Zaire, his quarterback at Notre Dame in 2014, or Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati the last 3 seasons, which is a dual threat quarterback, very similar skill set, and really kind of same issues and problems that, say, Jaden Daniels has. Very, very athletic, nice enough arm, but sporadically inaccurate. But Mike Denbrock also said that this one part of the quarterback position is crucial to him.
I think mobility is a key anytime at the quarterback position, especially when you're playing against some of the dynamic athletes that there are up front in SEC defenses. So that's always, I think, a good thing to have, but I don't think it's necessarily the defining thing that's going to make the decision.
Well, Miles Brennan is the only one that can't run at all, and he's supposedly taking third-team reps most of practice. So I don't think we need to wait for 7 practices at this point, which is what the number that Brian Kelly told us. I think it looks like Miles Brennan is going to be the odd man out. And it's now just a Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier battle. I'm willing to read those tidbits after 5 fall camp practices. Take it for what it's worth. We'll see how that plays out probably at the end of this week, I should say. Now, the offensive line is really the one that still has a long way to go. I think we're paying a little too much attention to the quarterback position. The ones that really have a lot to sort of figure out is the offensive line. Well, we got some new tidbits. Garrett Dellinger took the majority of the first-team reps at center today. Just the first 30 minutes they were out there, but still, he was taking the majority of the first-team reps this time. I believe it was on Thursday, Marlon Martinez took most of the first-team reps. Now, everything else was pretty much the same on the offensive line as it was back on Thursday last week. Left tackle Campbell, left guard Tremont Shorts, but this time it was center was Garrett Dellinger. Right guard is still Miles Frazier. Then right tackle, Anthony Bradford, which is something that Brian Kelly brought up potentially about last week.
It's in flux. I guess we're still, I think, in the identification phase of who are the best 5 guys actually going to be. Right now there's some moving around, some moving parts here and there. We've got a couple guys, obviously, that we didn't have in the spring that need to be evaluated. We've got to get a feel for how they fit with the other pieces of the puzzle up there. Who's the guards, who's the tackles, who's the center, quite frankly, and just dig through that some more.
So that's the position that will take a little longer to decide, but it looks like from the thick of it, they're really just trying to figure out the center right tackle position. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. Okay, so this next topic is very similar to the Arch Manning discussion that we had all earlier this year. Similar to Arch Manning in the sense that I don't give a shit about it, but all of you seem to do. So I will swallow my pride and talk about it for you. So for the first time in 22 years, since the year 2000, LSU football will not be ranked in the preseason top 25. The coaches poll came out today, no LSU. The AP poll will come out next week, and it will likely be the same. I don't care. I don't care. And I can't make all of you not care like me, but I can make an argument on why you should not care. All the national media really does, is look at 3 things when it comes to voting for the polls. Starting quarterback, number of returning starters, and the last game you played. LSU can't answer those questions at quarterback yet. And if you're just looking at a piece of paper with the number of starters coming back for LSU, it's not great. And the bowl game last year with only 36 scholarship players was the last thing they saw. That also hurts the narrative for LSU last season. This is the reasoning that most people use outside of their own teams that they cover. It's a basic and lazy reasoning, but it's just what it is. It's the same thing with Las Vegas odd makers, okay? I trust Vegas odd makers in season. I don't really care all that much or trust them preseason because there's too many factors in play that they cannot possibly know about. Like, think before the 2012 football season. How the hell could anyone in Las Vegas possibly know Johnny Manziel was going to come out of nowhere as a redshirt freshman and take Texas A&M to a 10-2 record in their first year in the SEC, win the Heisman Trophy, and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa? He was like vying for second string back in spring. Just came out of nowhere. I mean, the same thing with LSU, with Vegas odd makers right now. LSU's all over the place with the Vegas odd win total. Some have them at 5.5, some have them at 8 wins. The professionals have no idea what to think of LSU. And they work harder than anyone because it's their bottom line that's coming down to it. And they still have no idea. So, take my advice. Or don't take my advice. What the hell do I really know? But none of this really matters. And it hasn't mattered in almost a decade since probably the end of the BCS era. Thanks for listening to Out of My League. If you like what you heard, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Or follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok in the description link below.